Monstera are not bushy, they don't grow like that. Their entire aim in life is to climb into the sun, and that is where they will finally be happy. They grow in like a vine up a tree, one leaf at a time, each one getting bigger than the next, and then they go up, and then that's it. They don't grow on the ground because where they live they wouldn't get enough light, so the bushiness is usually not faked, but it's coerced under duress. When you see bushy monstera in anything commercial, like an office or a shopping centre or I was going to say a garden centre, they're not growing like that because of where they are. They're usually like swapped in and out and then kept somewhere where they can grow like that. So whilst I'm not saying you can't have a bushy monstera, I'm saying it's a lot of work and you may need to put in more effort than perhaps you might want to. So if you're looking for something really like lush and bushy, perhaps go for something like, even like a pothos, you can grow them in a way that fakes them looking bushy in a way that you can't really with Monstera. So in order to make the plant look as bushy as possible naturally, you need to reduce the internodal spacing, so like the gap between every leaf, and provide it with enough materials to grow in the best way that it can. Monstera naturally size up as they grow, so they will look bushier just because the leaves are covering the stem. So how do we do this? The biggest thing with Monstera is light, because that's why they climb. They climb so they can get more light, and as they get more light, they grow bigger. So the more light you can give it, the better. There are exceptions to this. My Monstera Thai constellation hates me and nothing will make it grow. It's currently in a north-facing window purely because I've tried it in every other type of light and I'm out of ideas. This one also grows in a north-facing window. Are you going to come onto camera? It grows decent leaves, it's fine. And I'm in North Yorkshire, it's not like I'm somewhere where it's warm. However, it is very, I wouldn't say it has short internodal spacing. Well, it sort of does actually. But it's a mature fella. I mean, look at this stem. It's not going to win any prizes for aesthetics though. So light is really the big one, and it is the thing that will make the biggest difference. The next thing is probably water, but I'm going to cover like general care. Humidity will also help it grow bigger. Humidity doesn't have that big of an impact in the growth of the plant, but every leaf will look lusher, which will sort of give it the illusion of looking fuller. Warmth also really, really helps. So don't expect anything other than like crappy growth in winter, but in summer, you can cut back the crappy growth and then more growth, better growth will come with the warmth. Monstera are surprisingly tolerant of cold temperatures, but they will not grow in anything other than like a really leggy fashion. So the key really is just light and good care. You need to be watering it well. If it's getting good light, it should be drying out quite quickly. To get it to grow as quickly as possible, what you want is it to be warm enough and bright enough to need to water it at least every week. What you don't want to do is water it every week regardless, because if it's not getting enough light, you'll end up with rot. If it's higher in humidity, then you might not need to water as often. But what you want is it to be growing so fast, it's literally like sucking the water out of the soil. Soil is one of those areas I just don't think it's that important. If you've got all the other aspects of care, good, sorted, soil just isn't going to have that much of an impact. You can grow it in anything. Monstera care is not difficult. The difficulty is people want them to grow in a specific way that they usually don't want to do. They want to grow up something, they want to grow in the brightest window, they don't care if they burn. That is another thing, like they don't care if they're all about the next leaf that's growing. They don't care about the old ones. They're like, right, you can die out, you're holding me back. And if it burns, it burns. They want the sun, they don't care about the burning. You can kind of combat that by increasing the light gradually. Really not my style. I tend to just whack them out there, sacrifice the older leaves, and then the new growth. As plants get acclimated to the light, they can produce what is, in very layman's terms, like sunscreen for themselves so they don't burn. But they need time to produce it. I'm like, nah, just go outside. Your next leaves will be beautiful. I suppose good care is a given. The big thing is the light. The other big thing is the growing up something. And this is where you sort of can hack the way that it wants to grow by growing it in a moss pole. In a moss pole? You know, with a moss pole. You can try tying it to something like a plank or one of those coir poles. Mine, I've just stuck the aerial roots back in. I'm like, you can support yourself. It will stay up that way. It won't ever grow as big as it could if I put it in a moss pole. The thing about moss poles is if you keep them damp, which is not something I'm ever going to do. That's why I don't do it. I just don't have the inclination to care for them. Seriously, my foot is dead. Sorry. I'm going to kick you. There we go. With a moss pole, the aerial roots can grow into the moss pole and develop another root system. So you're giving it more power. So if that is something that you want to do, you can water your moss pole with nutrient water and really supercharge it, and then that way it will produce bigger leaves. That is also one of the ways you are more likely to get 2 growth points going. Having multiple growth points on a Monstera is one of those things that has happened, does happen, but you can't make it happen. It's entirely dependent on the plant, and there's no way you can increase the likelihood of it happening. It's just, you know how you get sometimes those pothos that your grandma's been growing in the cupboard for 50 years and it's so happy and healthy? You can't deny its existence, but also you can't tell other people to grow plants like that because it's so unlikely to happen. There's so much variance between the different specimens that I can really only give you advice that's going to work on everything. And growing Monstera up a moss pole in the brightest light possible and taking really good care of it is really the only way to get it to grow bushy naturally. The other thing you can do, right, I'm not recommending this because I've not done it. She says, so with pothos and things, you can hack bushiness by just planting loads of cuttings together. They tell you not to do that with Monstera because Monstera roots are incredibly aggressive. They grow really, really big. They have this tendency of like trying to fill the pot before they'll grow any more leaves, which I actually don't object to. Like I quite often put them in a massive pot. They concentrate on growing roots, so you don't get leaves for a while, but when the leaves do come, they're bigger because there's a massive root system. I've got 2 in here. They grow fine. Like it's in a north-facing window. I've had 2 new leaves this year. I mean, I don't know how good that is. On the big one, the little one grows faster. Most things grow more when they're younger. But what I am going to do, like this is purely out of necessity and I kind of want to see what happens. This isn't advice. I have these 12 Monstera seedlings. Now I have no idea what I'm going to do with 12 Monstera. Like, this house is not 1,000 square feet and I've already got plenty of plants. I've already got this freaking monster. So these 12 seedlings are going to go in a pot together. Yeah, I could give them away, but I sort of let the slugs get to them. I've put them outside because I want them to grow quickly. I want to see how quickly they can get fenestrations, but like this is not what I meant. So they're all going to get potted up together. I might put a singular moss pole in just to see what happens, see if they fight over it. But in general, I'm a big fan of letting the aerial roots support them. It's not how they do it in the wild, but not a moss pole girly. And by moss pole, I don't mean actual moss. I use the cretised ones because the aerial roots can attach, but you don't have to water them. So it's fine for me. So yeah, sorry, it's sort of bad news, isn't it? Growing Monstera to be bushy is just not easy because you have to provide them with all these resources. And even then they don't want to do it. If you want them to grow the ultimate way, you really need a tree for them to climb up and better weather than we have here. Oh, so the reason that you can't grow them together, now I don't know how true this is because as growing strategies go, this just seems weird. So apparently Monstera have this thing where they produce a chemical from their roots which inhibits the growth of other plants. That just seems an odd strategy for a plant that relies on growing up another plant. Like, does it only seek out other Monstera? Like, how... I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying, like, how does that work? Like, what is that? Is it true? Because I have 2 in here and they seem to get on fine. I've never, like... So, yeah, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, so many people click... I've got a pin that went viral and people clicked on it wanting to know how to grow a bushy Monstera, and there's me going... Yeah, you can't, it's really hard. So sorry, but they're not bushy. They absolutely grow however they want to grow. Not as bad as my frickin' philodendron golden dragon, but they grow the way they want to grow and they're not easily manipulate. You can't manipulate them very well. Like, this is a petiole and it's really thick. I can't like train it to go a certain way. It does what it does, but it's pretty, so who cares? So to recap, all the light you can throw at it. Look after it well, keep it warm, keep it in a humid environment, keep it well watered, feed it. To be honest, like the fertilizer thing, they're really not that fussed. Some people say they're heavy feeders, some people say they're light feeders. I've tried both. Didn't make a difference. The biggest difference will be light. And grow it up something. Give it the false hope that it can one day grow into the sun. And that is all you can do. Good luck. Or try and add Adansonii and grow loads of cuttings together. That'll grow nice and bushy. Or a pothos, because when pothos get big, they also grow the big fenestrated leaves. So try those. And on that note, I will leave you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.